Good morning, everyone. Welcome to On the Glide Slope. We are doing a bit of a different flight today. First of all, I have requests to have first-person videos, and I don't shoot them very often because some people don't like the motion that it creates. But today we're shooting a first-person video, and we're going to be shooting a first-person video practicing a real-world flight I'm going to be doing in my own private pilot training coming up. I've got a cross-country coming up where I'm going to fly from Brandywine Airport, which is where we're sitting on the ramp. This is an airport scenery that I just designed, my first one. I finished it yesterday and put it up at xplane.org, and I like it. It's pretty realistic, come close to the real thing. And we're going to fly from Brandywine to Harrisburg. And we have plotted that out this morning using our trusty E6B flight computer rather than ForeFlight and the real charts, and have our flight log here, and we're going to get things started. So without any further ado, we will turn on the batteries, get some cabin lights going here. We are in the X-Plane 11 Cessna 172, the default aircraft. Beacon lights on. Fuel pump. Prime the pump. Feet on the brakes. And okay, we're up and running there. Master switch, the avionics. They're alive. Let's put on our nav lights because it's still dark out. Taxi light. And we're up and running. Okay, so we have our nav log here, which we have plotted out with our flight computer. And we've got our checkpoints along the way. And we figured out our correct headings and our distance and time based on our airspeed. And here we have our charts. Basically, we're going to fly, I hope this is showing up on the head cam, take off from Brandywine, top of climb about here. Then we're going to go past, Brandywine, top of climb by here. Then we're going to go past Chester County Airport, then up past Smoketown, into Harrisburg. On the way down, we'll then fly VOR. We'll go down to Donegal Springs. That'll be about top of climb for us. Then we're going to fly tracking on the DuPont 109 DuPont 129 radial until we pick up the Medina 103 radial. Then we'll come across, and then it's 54 degrees up back to Brandywine, and that's our flight. Winds at 3,000 feet will be 2,500 on the way out, 3,500 on the way back. Winds out there are about 307 degrees to 24 knots. So we've got some slow climb and en route speeds on the way there and faster ones on the way back. And we're going to give it a shot. We've got some orthophoto scenery for some of this flight, but not all of it. So we'll see how that goes. And without any further ado, we'll start doing this by the book. So ATIS first, 121.40, I think. X-Plane has this ATIS. We'll see. Doesn't sound like it does, but that's okay. Well, then we'll switch over. We'll get the weather here using the real-world METAR in just a second. Okay, we've got the weather. We have winds are 310 at 6, so we'll go off on 27. And we would make our call. Brandywine traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf is taxiing runway 27, Brandywine. So Brandywine is a great little field, about 3,000 feet. Just enough for some twins to get into. Jets can't really get in here. And it's convenient to Philadelphia, and the scenery that was available just wasn't out there, so I designed this, and I had fun doing it. It wasn't too hard once I got it figured out, and this looks a lot like the real thing. We can do our run up right here, because it's slow today. Okay, up to 2,000 RPMs. Just right magnetos. Good. Left magnetos. Good. All right, engine instruments are in the green. Amps are good, vacuum's good. Okay. So our plan is going to be to fly out just with VFR navigation. So we've got visual checkpoints on the way out. One should be a set of quarries off to our right when we are top of climb. Then we're going to fly with Chester County Airport off to our left, change our heading. Then we're going to fly until we see S-37 off to our left. See, this is harder to steer than the real thing. And then we will then make our heading, and we should be able to see the cooling towers from 3 Mile Island by then. Then we'll go into Harrisburg, and then on the way back we're actually going to fly VOR navigation. Okay, we're holding short of 27. Brandywine traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf is departing runway 27. We're making straight out departure to the west, Brandywine. Strobes on, and landing lights on, just so that people see us. And we're ready to go. I'm not going to video the whole flight just because it's probably going to be an hour and 20 minutes. According to our flight log, it should be about an hour 15, but that doesn't include time for the touch and go, really. So, and it's just a lot of editing to do for a full hour. Okay, final check. We'll do react, RPM, engines. Everything's good? Okay. All right, full power. RPM is good. Engines are good. We're on the center line. Rotation speed. The airplane accelerate. Here in Brandywine in real world, at the end here we make a little turn to about 280, 290 for noise abatement, and also there's fields over here in case something goes wrong. Overcast day, so it's cloudy and shadowy. Not a lot to see. That's the way it is in the real world. We're running Enviro X weather, which is accurate. Okay, our climb speed is 79. Looks like the trim wheel just woke up. So we'll trim for climb. Okay, there we go. All right, so our first heading with the wind is going to be 295. Get our heading bug set to 295. Okay, our heading bug is set to 295. So we'll fly that heading, and we're going up to 2,500 feet. Brandywine traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf is departing to the west. This will be a last call, Brandywine. Okay. Back to our climb speed. Okay, and I'm going to be looking for the quarries. Okay, so I'll check in at the first checkpoint. Otherwise, we're going to start flying our routes. I can actually see Chester out there. I can see the flashing light. So that's our next checkpoint, and that's about the right heading. Trim the airplane. And there are the quarries, right where they're supposed to be. So there's our first checkpoint, just like it's supposed to happen. Great. Now next 7 minutes, start the timer. Okay, just for fun, we're going to turn into the Chester County AWAS here, 126.625, 126.25.
Chester Coach E.O. Carlson weather. wind 310 at 7, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 1, dew point -25. Altimeter 3009.
Okay, 3009 is the altimeter there, so we'll back off our altimeter 2 notches.
Chester Kogio Carlson weather.
And let's switch over to the Chester.
7, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 1.
Chester is 122.7. There's no traffic out here today, but just because that's what we would do in real world. Chester County traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf. We're going to be passing a beam the field to the north at 2,500 Chester County. That would be the safe call. Okay, we are coming up on our next checkpoint. This is a flight that I was supposed to have made a few weeks ago. We had to reschedule it because of winds. It's way too windy to fly safely. And but it should be coming up here pretty soon, in the next week or two. So it's going to be good just to simulate it, get it plotted out, and get the flight log all ready to go. In terms of the flight log, you can see here, this is one by AOA. You do the flight planning on this side, or by ASA, I'm sorry, on this side, and then you fold it in half and it gives you your resulting headings and times on this side. There's flight plan and weight balance information on the other side. You can get them online, a pad of them for like $4. If you're just a simmer and not into the real world stuff, I don't know if it would be too valuable for you, but I like it in the sim because it aids with VFR navigation, and it's me doing what I'm really supposed to be doing. Okay, so here we are. We are abeam Chester County Airport. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. And according to the watch, we did it in 5 minutes, so a little faster than expected. We expected 5, we did it in, expected in 7, we did it in 5. Now we fly heading of 303. So we'll adjust our heading bug. About 303 is right there. Reset our watch. And now we should be, our next stop is can you see, we just went beam. Next stop is S37. 15 miles, should be doing about 77 miles an hour with the wind. We should be there in 12 minutes. So that's our next stop. That is Smoketown Airport. Now, if we really were doing this and we just want to navigate, we could just follow Route 30 all the way out to Harrisburg. That's right over there. But we're not. We're going to fly with our headings. All right, be back at Smoketown. All right, we just passed abeam Smoketown Airport. It's right back there. Our new heading is 304, so we've adjusted the heading bug just a little bit. That's Lancaster Airport out there. We're making time just a little faster than expected, and one reason why is because we're actually doing about 110 up here in the Cessna rather than 100, which is what I planned for. Also, about now, we would call the TRSA, the Harrisburg has a terminal radar services area. That means that even though they're a Class Delta, they have radar, which makes sense because they have a lot of jets coming in and out of there. So we would call them and let them know that we're coming. So we will simulate that right now. And it's not required, but it's a courtesy because then they know that you're flying into their airspace to land. So we would switch over. Harrisburg approach, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf. They'd come back, they'd say Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf. It's a Harrisburg approach, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf. We are just approaching Lancaster 2,500. We are inbound for touch and go, just giving you a heads up. They would maybe give us a squawk code. So let's say they give us 2420, squawk 2420, maintain VFR altitudes. 2420, maintain VFR for 15 Juliet Golf. They might ask us to flash, so we hit the ident button. Okay, we're over Lancaster now. Our next leg would be roughly well, with this wind, yeah, about 23 minutes. We've got about 30 miles. So we'll stay on this heading and we should start to see Harrisburg coming up pretty soon. And we'll stay at our altitude. And there's the town of Lancaster, Pennsylvania off to the side there. Don't know if you can see that. We can also start getting ready for the VOR navigation we're going to do. We're going to be flying on the DuPont radial when we take off. That's 114.0, so we might as well get ready for that. See if we can pick it up. Yep, we've got a glide slope there. Turn on our DME. Yep. And we would be flying on a 2 heading of 129. Right? So we might as well get that ready to go also. Should have gone the other way, it would have been faster. I think I can see the lights of Harrisburg in front of us. So 129. About there. If you're ever wondering if that's right, you can always double check the charts. It would be an outbound of 309, so that would be inbound of 129. That's correct. All right.
Harrisburg INTL information Zulu. 1200 Zulu weather. Wind 340 at 11. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 2. Dew point -37. Altimeter 3009. Arriving and departing runway 31. Advise on initial contact, you have Zulu.
Okay, so 31 is going to be our runway, so we would just probably, they'd bring us in and have us probably just fly a right base into 31. So that's what we'll plan to do here in the sim. All right, so we're chugging along. Our next VOR, by the way, after that, it's going to be 113.2. That's Medina. We'll get that ready to go on the nav radio also. I didn't pick up the VOR beeps. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I'm not quite sure why, but. All right, we will check in as we get closer to Harrisburg. You can see the Susquehanna River out there. That's showing up on the camera. Okay, we've passed Donegal Springs. We've got 3 Mile Island right in front of us. There goes the highway. About this point, they would probably hand us over to Tower, which is 124.8. So they'd say, Scott 15 Julie Golf, go to Harrisburg Tower 124.8. I'd say 124.8 for 15 Julie Golf. Harrisburg Tower, good morning, Skyhawk 15 Julie Golf. We're 10 miles east of the field inbound, 2,500. They would already have us because they've been handed off. It's a 15 Julie Golf, copy, prepare for right base into 3-1, report 3 miles. Report 3 miles, right base 3-1, 15 Julie Golf. Okay, now we'd start going through our pre-landing checklist. Pattern altitude there is 1,300 feet, so we got 1,200 feet to lose. So we'll go down to 2,000 about here. Fuel is to both. Mixture is full rich. Carb heat on. And we are looking for the field. Now they would probably give us radar vectors if they were busy, but let's presume that we're just flying a right base in today. All right, we're at 2,000 feet. We're getting close. We'll go ahead and bring it down to pattern altitude, continue our descent. Overcast conditions, so it's dark out there. A little too dark. I'll adjust that when we make our touch and go. All right, I'll see you when we're lining up for final. We are coming up to pattern altitude. We've got the VASI system right there. Harrisburg Tower, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf is 3 miles for 3-1. Clear to land. 15 Juliet Golf. Okay, landing lights on. Mixture is rich. Where are we on our time? We are at 14 minutes. Quite a bit faster than, well, we guessed about 23, so yeah, faster. I started a little late too. Notch flaps. We're slowing down the airplane. A little high on the glide slope. Next notch flaps. Fuel pump on. I didn't go through my checklist very well. Part of it is not really being vectored. I wasn't really in my groove. Full flaps. Airplane is slowing nicely. Down to 70 knots. Still a little high. So we'll just take a little power out. We would have asked them for a touch and go as well. Got a little sync, add a little power, there we go. So we will be on the go. And we would tell them that we want to make a VFR departure to the south, and they would probably give us right traffic. Then we'll fly to Donegal Springs. Airspeed's good, 67 knots. All right, there we go, flaps up. Carb heat off. Rotate. There goes Harrisburg Airport off to our right. They would probably tell us that we want to go to south. They would probably give us on-course approved once we were off the field, unless it was busy. They might still vector us a little bit. But we'll be ready, so our next heading is 136. We'll adjust our heading bug. 136. Okay, let's say the encore's approved, so we'll turn. Keep our squawk. They probably hand us back to approach. Radar services 126.45. Harrisburg approach, Skyhawk 15 Julie Golf 2000. Okay, 3,500 on the way back. Little blue sky poking through out there. That's the Susquehanna River down there. Coming up to our heading. Fly over the infamous 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant. This puts us in essence on a downwind leg for 3-1. Continue our climb. Let's look at our chart. Donegal Springs should be about where we're about, if we're doing 500 feet a minute, it should be where we are about top of climb. And from there then we will track the 109 radial. Alright, we're just about over Donegal Springs Airport, and we're not picking up the VOR from DuPont quite yet. But we are about where we're supposed to be, and now we should be changing our heading to fly the 129 radial. That really means we're going to have to fly about 142 heading. So we will make that adjustment, given the winds. Looks like we've got some air traffic down there. Not quite sure what that is, other than just scenery. But we are clear of them. And we're looking for the DuPont radial, which should be coming up at some point here. We pass Lancaster again on our right, which is coming up now. There's the bridge across the highway, so we're about right here. Right about where we're supposed to be. Okay. Okay, and we have our VOR radial. We have our radial now. So we're just a little right of our. Of course, boy, my altitude is all over the place. All right, let's get stable here. And if the winds are blowing the way they're supposed to be blowing, it should be blowing us pretty close to that radial. But so far, not so much. We aren't getting a DME from DuPont, so we'll just keep flying it. That means we're at our next checkpoint. Did that last one in about 9 minutes with the turn. Get the airplane trimmed. The trim on this isn't quite as stable as the real world. So we're going to go to the Rickkeff, R-I-C-K-F intersection. And that'll be when we cross the 103 radial for, good Lord, I'm just doing a terrible job of holding onto the yoke here. Let's get the trim set and let the airplane fly itself. Okay, there we go. So we're actually going to turn on our nav2 radio here. We're going to set that to 113.2, which is Medina. And we're going to track a 103 degree radial into Medina. So we'll get this set to 103. And when that intercepts, we need to make our right-hand turn. That's the way that's going to work. So if we look at the chart here, see it. We're flying along this heading, tracking this radial, and when we cross that radial from Medina, we'll make our turn. So that is the 103 radial. So using Vor Navigation, we're going to fly that straight, and then when that intercepts, we're going to make our turn. I am way off course, as I got distracted. I'm at the wrong altitude. I'm not having a good flying day after that touch and go. Everything was great on the way out to Harrisburg. Now I'm a mess. I guess I haven't had breakfast. Time for another cup of coffee. Okay, let's increase some power. Let's get up to 3,500 feet. Let's get back on our heading. start doing what we're supposed to do. Okay, we're now picking up DME for DuPont. So it's telling us we're doing 123 knots over the ground. I estimated we'd be doing 125. So that's pretty close in terms of what my estimate was with the wind. 43 miles from Medina, or from DuPont. City of Lancaster, Pennsylvania there, off to our left. Just like the chart says it should be. It's not far after Lancaster that we have our intercept, so if we're watching this, it's coming up. According to this, we're doing 140 over the ground, so we are really cruising. The winds up here must be really cranking. Coming up to our intercept, we're on our heading, we're a little low, that's okay. We're flying this, and now we have crossed that radial. So now we're going to switch over our nav radio, and we're going to change our OBS to 103. That's the radio we should be flying out, or to Medina on. And with the wind, we should be flying about 109-degree heading. So we'll change our heading bug to 109. About right there. Okay. Get on that heading. And we've got 22 nautical miles. Reset the clock. That last leg was about 9 minutes, which is exactly what I figured it would be. And now we should have about 13 minutes to Medina. We've assumed we've been released by TRSA, so we're now squawking VFR. We also have switched over to the Chester County CTAF, because that's the next major airport that we're going to be flying by. A little off our glide slope here, so we'll get back off our, our radial, so we'll get back on it. And basically, if you need to intercept a radial, you fly a 20 or 30 degree heading to the opposite side until you cross it. Okay. X-Enviro is doing a great job. This is a lot like what the weather looks like outside here today. Winds seem right, given what I've planned for. And I think it does a nice job with the clouds. More and more settings that you can adjust are coming all the time from them. And including, you can now adjust the brightness of the clouds. You can make them a bit darker if you want. But I think this looks good. All right, we are at our Chester County checkpoint. I've switched over that CTAF frequency. Chester County traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf, is 3,500. We're passing 2 miles south of the field, Chester. So there's Chester County Airport right there. It took us, looks like it took us about 7 minutes to get there, which is pretty close to what I guessed, a little less. I guess I started at a little, oh, no, I'm going all the way to Medina. Sorry, which is 13 minutes. Sorry, Chester is still a couple miles from Medina. We're 9 miles from Medina. So if I planned 13 minutes and we've been going for 7, that'll end up being just about right. So we are still on our radial, and now we're going to start creeping down to 2,000 feet. Just drop the throttle a little bit. And as we get closer and closer to the Medina VOR, staying on that heading will be more and more difficult, because little variations, if you're off just a half of a degree, shows up as a big deviation here as you get closer, because there's more distance. Whereas when you're far away, you can be a little off track and it doesn't show up quite as much. All right, so we're going to start our descent here. The fact of the matter is we could just follow Route 30 there all the way in if we needed to, but we will keep flying the VOR as per our plan. All right, we're just about a mile from the Medina VOR. We're right on our needle, or close to it. We're at 2,000 feet. I'll probably level out about here. And then after this, it's just 54 degrees to the field. So we will cross and get over to our correct frequency, 123.075. Running white traffic, Skyhawk 15 Julie Golf is over the Medina VOR. We'll be making a left downwind into 27, Brandywine. All right, so that took us just about the right amount of time. Took us about 12 minutes, which was what I guessed at, 13 actually. This last leg now is only 4 minutes. Westchester is right in front of us. That's that town. And we're gonna come in at right about 50 pattern altitude, which is 1,500 feet. Yep, so we have the field. From here, we're just about 3 miles out. Brandywine traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf is 3 miles southwest of the field. We're over Westchester, 1,500. We'll be making 45-degree entry downwind for 27, Brandywine. Okay. Okay, entering on the 4-5. Slowing down the airplane. Blowing my pattern altitude. Not quite as used to this Cessna. There's the field. Get on our heading. There's the field. Okay, we're beam the numbers. About 1,400 feet, about right. Okay, carb heat on. Fuel pump on. First notch of flaps. Start flying downhill. Trim the airplane. About here. Brandywine traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf is turning left base for 27, Brandywine. Alright, there's the field. Next notch of flaps. Brandywine traffic, Skyhawk 15 Juliet Golf is turning final for 27, Brandywine. Getting down to 70 knots, which is right on the glide slope. Perfect. Overturn the field just a little bit. Let's come back to it. Final flaps. Trim the airplane. Little crosswind here, not much. Right here on short final where we want to be. Got the field made, cut the power. There we go, there's the rudder problem, but we got it fixed, okay. All right, usually we try to make this, there we go, this turn off here. So that was a cross-country flight that I have coming up in the real world. It was great to simulate it. Sorry, my clipboard keeps catching on the throttle handle. The only difference is I'll be flying a Piper Warrior 2. I've got to see if I can find one of those for download. There's nobody coming. Alright. Brandywine traffic, Skyhawk 15 Julia Golf is clear of 27. We're taxiing to the ramp, Brandywine. Reset the trim. Flaps up. Carb heat off. Fuel pump off. Strobes off. Landing taxi lights off. So, that was fun. I like doing the head cam. I know some people, they can't watch it. It makes them sick to their stomach. I try not to move my head around too much, but at the same time, you get involved with what you're doing and you're just doing it. This is my scenery that I designed. This is Brandywine, KOQN. It is at x-plane.org in the scenery library, and it is free. And it's pretty close to the real thing. I laid it out on the actual Google Earth imagery. So it's got the distances and everything are all very accurate. And in fact, right now at the field, there's a little Bonanza parked right there with the V-wing, or the V-tail, and we've got that here in the sim. And if you're going to be flying around Philadelphia, it's not a bad GA airport to use. And if you want to see where I fly in the real world, this is the place. And we would taxi right over here, just like this, and park. So if you have questions, I get a lot of questions right now about screen configurations, monitor setup, the type of projector I use. All those things are at www.ontheglideslope.net. I'm happy to answer them in the questions, but the fact of the matter is I've already got them answered for you. If you go to the website for the simulator, and you can check everything out there. Try not to hit that Cessna there as we pull into our parking space. And if you do have specific questions that I don't have answered on the website, go ahead and put them in the comments and I'll answer them as best as I can. This is always the most delicate part of the flight, is parking the airplane without hitting anybody else's airplane. So www.ontheglideslope.net, all those questions are pretty much answered. And otherwise, put them in the comments and I'll do my best I can to answer them. At this point, we'd hop out and push the airplane back, but we'll call it a day here. So, throttle out, mixture out, avionics off, then the master, magnetos, and we'd park it. So, thanks for watching on the glide slope. I have a lot of fun making the videos. Hope you like watching them, and I will see you on the next flight. Thanks.